Hello and welcome to Let's Play's Disco Elysium Part 33. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe and support me on my Patreon if you are able. We're close, says the young man with the tape player and the large Bordero boots. Lung-shaped trees sprout from his silver belt buckle.
True, hard, full, car!
Is it?
It's hardcore!
You're just gonna keep saying it's hardcore, aren't you?
Skipper D, skipper danger. I am the rearranger.
Okay, that's a bit of a change. Your cop training did not prepare you for this. What to do? So this seems to be some sort of puzzle.
True, hard, full, car! Hardcore!
But is it? I mean, really? Hardcore?
Yeah!
This young man adds a capital G before the H in his yeahs and ahs. This produces a guttural Gottwaldian accent and makes him sound more animal, more in it. Or maybe it's not Gottwaldian. Maybe it's Orangesi. Probably an homage to Orange, where Arno van Eyck is from, judging by his name. Could you be listening to an Arno van Eyck creation right now? So, this is the famous Van Eyck I'm hearing?
You know about him?
He moves his mouth, but sound doesn't come out. His eyes are the size of saucers. Looks like you've rendered him speechless.
You know Van Eyck?
Okay, let's... yeah, I'm a major Eyck head.
Wow!
The skinny wraith looks at you with some disbelief.
So am I! So am I!
He begins to shake his head so everyone would understand.
Oh, is that why they call you Egghead? Because...
Egghead to the mega! The K became the G! The boy became the man! The advent? We're close. True, hard, full, car! Hardcore!
Still say
Hardcore
nothing.
to the mega!
Say nothing.
Internally coherent.
Still say nothing.
All core. All right. Yeah.
Please tell me exactly what you're
Gotta
doing.
get the people going.
Why?
I'm the party boy. It's my job.
What is a party boy?
Hardcore party 25/7 beyond the winter's orbit style.
There is a place far away in Katla, beyond a certain latitude known as Winter's Orbit, where there are 25 hours in a day. It is a tremendously cold place, abandoned to drunks and failed rock stars, full of eternite, depression, and half-finished ski-flying hills. The Saru live there. Okay, so that's the whole 25/7 thing. Interesting little fact.
True, hard, full, car.
Say nothing.
Hardcore. Hardcore to the internally coherent. All core, all right, yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
He lets out an agonised roar over the feverish, obviously not too hardcore beat below. So hardcore. He stops dead in his tracks, tilting his head to one side. It is!
What is it? I mean, really?
He tilts his head to the other side, like an owl. The question is, what is the question?
No, but seriously, I'm a bit worried it isn't.
Yay, we did it! He frowns, then starts bobbing his head back and forth once more. Don't be alarmed, everything is okay. He isn't actually worried. Everything is still super hardcore. What he probably means is, it could be even more so. You said you were worried. What do you think is wrong with the music? There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with the hardcore. He turns pensive all of a sudden. Sometimes I just feel like anodic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last month. And will continue pumping for the rest of 51. Isn't something holding it back from being hyper? He thinks for a moment, then his expression clears. It's like it's only ultra. I think it's super hardcore, says Andre. But you're right, it's not hyper hardcore. If anything, it sounds a bit proto. Like it's not fully formed yet. You might be a moribund alcoholic and a failed cop, but you're pretty certain a thing cannot be both proto and hardcore. It's proto, not hardcore at all. Whoa, culture cop! I think you might be right. But how could it become hardcore then? I know it in my heart, but I cannot think it in my head. If this is not hardcore, how could anything be? I can't help you with this right now. I need something else, something extra. Yeah, he's not even the slightest bit disappointed. Are you a thought reader? No nation, but trans nation. No war, but class war. So you're not a thought reader, you're a communist. He's not a communist, says Noid. It's just something he likes to yell. He picked it up from a tape jockey in the Elysium. She was a communist, though. Yeah, with a rebel yell. Best not to be a communist. Having extreme views on issues is detrimental to understanding all sides. Oh, sure. I can do that. Egghead nods. If you want that, I can avoid taking a stand. No, please don't turn him into a moralist. I don't even know what to say to that. Be a moralist, Egghead. The balance needs your help. Aye, he yells. You guess Egghead is a moralist now. So does that mean you're a thought reader? Don't be a lunatic. Of course he isn't, says Noid. Jermaine here just yells random things. Odds are, sooner or later, one of them will come off as thought reading. Yeah, revocable imperative. Unless you were thinking revocable imperative right now. Anyway, I've had a similar thing happen with Egghead's yelling. I know what you mean. You're right. I wasn't thinking that. Hardcore superstar. Tell me something else. It's time to compromise. He looks at you with an almost impossibly wide, shining grin, looking to see if you approve. Almost there. Could use just a bit more something. Incremental change. Appropriate. I'm swiftly moving towards a solution which pleases everybody. Which pleases nobody. You feel Jermaine Egghead's smile is too enthusiastic, but it'll have to do for now. So is your real name Jermaine? D'accord hardcore. Jermaine Egghead. Basically, yes it is. Why are there lungs on your belt buckle? Lungs are for love. Why would lungs be for love? When Dolores Day was anointed innocent, her lungs started glowing through her body. For the world loved her, and she loved it back. Yeah! Why wouldn't they be? Are the lungs not the place where you hold your breath? The breath of your soul? Really? I think so. Okay, well, the lungs are where you hold the breath of your soul, aren't they? Hell yeah! Alright, goodbye, Egghead. Alright, here comes the night. Well, we have connected with him, so to speak.
I see you're here again, offside man. Did I mention getting us into the church would help?
Yes, you did. I'm just trying to find out a bit more information first. Tell me about the machines you saw in the church. He cringes. Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor of some sort. Long-wave machinery. Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign or some fucked up Sumerian science sign. You know, the kind that goes head first into the supernatural. The People's Republic of Sumeria is a product of Ravikol's sister revolution on the Isola of Grad. It's known as a severely degenerated rogue state. What's wrong with the supernatural? Nothing's wrong with it. It should definitely be researched. You can still do sick shit with it though. The sickest? That is perhaps why it should be researched. The supernatural. Do you think it's real? That it actually exists? Most of it doesn't exist, but there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist because the moralists think it's too dangerous for plebs. Or plebes? Psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
Okay, so we can't really do much more here unless we take a logic check. We do have the points. It's up our logic. Okay. And also let's dress to be Logic Man. Yeah. Okay, so at the moment we have +1 to logic, but this hat gives us +2, so something must be minusing it. Ah, it's the glasses. Do we have? I'm pretty sure I remember us having like logic glasses. Do we not? Yes. Excellent. So +3 to logic sounds pretty good. Let's.
I see you're here
no,
again.
not you. Let's try this check.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
Okay, got a pretty good chance. Maybe everything isn't quite as you've been told. Take a moment to analyse. Woo! A number of things just don't add up. Let's take a look. How about gather around, kids? Okay, gather around, kids. The young speed freak puts down a busted capacitor and looks at you. The one with the large head seems very enthusiastic about whatever you have planned. Their would-be leader is less amused. Sometime in the past, I'm not sure where and how, I fell sick and became the shadow you see now. But before that, I have reason to believe I was a police detective. But you still are. I was good enough in this job to be awarded the rank of Lieutenant Euphrator. I could have been captain, imagine that. What happened? Egghead looks serious suddenly. I did. I happened to myself. That's a real downer. He shakes his large head. Now, obviously, that might as well have been 1,000 years ago, but there's still some detective left in me. The young speed freak is silent. He senses something is wrong. This isn't the makings of a club. It's a tent full of laboratory equipment for manufacturing drugs. I have no idea how you arrived at that conclusion, but it's wrong, says Andre. Look, we even have speakers. He points at the speaker. One speaker. They have one speaker. Where is his friend? Did he lose his friend? What do you mean, friend? The other speaker. You only have one. It's a one-speaker system. It's monodynamic. You wouldn't know the first thing about sound reproduction in anodic music. Other speaker. This may be the brain damage talking, but you've definitely never heard of a monodynamic or one-speaker system. You have no headphones. Wouldn't a cell need her headphones to spin tape? What do you know about spinning tape? Nothing. I know you pawned them, like for lab equipment and drug ingredients. I'm sorry, but there is no lab equipment and no drug ingredients. That nosophed is here for its active ingredient. He said it was for his nose, Noise defends. What more do you want? Likely pseudoephedrine, almost exactly the shape of Euphrodine. Euphrodine makes you happy, and so does pseudoephedrine. Man, I'm so proud making it through that sentence. The distilled water, cornerstone of a clean lab. And of all cellular-based life. What's your point, Lawbringer? The ether in the air, a useful solvent, good for getting acting agent out of a solution. Make up your mind. First it's the sweat, then it's the ether. He smiles nervously. There is no need for me to pilot on anymore, is there? No shit, he sounds tired. In short, you tried to use a police detective to set up a drug lab. He waves his hands. Come on, that's punishable by summary execution? It's not. His eyes are wide with fear. So what are we going to do with you? What do you mean, do? There's resignation in his voice. He's almost ready to drop the act. It wouldn't take a lot of pushing. The optimal way to go about this would be indifference. It begins with you telling him you don't care about any of this. But I don't really care. I just wanted to crack the case. Do what you want, and I'll do what I want. Really? He sounds relieved. Of course not really. I'm a cop. Now tell me what's going on immediately. Or else. There's an audible clank as he lets a wrench drop into the toolbox. Not calling backup and hauling you all off to the pen for starters. Okay, man. He raises his hands. Things are just so hard for an entrepreneur in this city right now. It's not like we lied when we said we want to turn the church into the wickedest club in East Revachol. Because we do. We totally do. We just need to turn it into a speed lab to get our foot in the door. And why did you need me? Like I told you, spooky assholes moved in while I was getting all this stuff together. A month ago, the place was empty, and now it's all spooked up. They're not really spooky, are they? No, man, they're spooky alright. It's just that they would also probably call the police if we started cooking speed in there. But the sign was way off too. I couldn't feel the love at all. So, what now? This is it. Judgment time. So we can get a bribe, arrest them, evict them, get them to do it clean. Okay. Be like, okay, cool, club and drugs. Or decide later. So I think we want a music club, right? It's disco. But let's go with the clean lab. Because then we can go there safely. Yeah, the young man's smile widens to inhuman proportions. His teeth beam in the floodlight. I knew it. The would-be leader drops his spiked head between his knees. It's impossible now. No, Andre, it's harder now. This hard cop has come to show us how much the fish is, and the fish is always so much more. We all know there was never going to be a club for anodic music with a speed lab. Now it has a fighting chance. What was that about a fish? There needs to be a club for anodic music in there. Needs to. Everyone hates each other. Everybody hates it here. It's all just drugs and we're slaves, and I can't. We're running out of time. We need a win, Andre. He looks at you. I promise this will be a win. We won't cook speed in there. We'll do it clean. We'll do it true. We'll do it sober and real and beautiful. This will be a victory for the light. Right. Let's call this incident crime prevention. But I've got my eye on you. Okay. We'll try to do it without the drugs. Andre raises his head from between his knees. We'll do a straight up club in there, spinning the maddest reels and nothing but, I swear to God. Okay, Egg? From here on it'll be the straightest all the way. Okay. As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for news. Yeah! There we go, setting the youth on the straight and narrow. We can always bust them if they do make a drug lab in the club. Be pretty obvious. Mind you, it took us quite a long time to work that out, didn't it? I wonder if, what was it, Acel has more to say? Oh, okay. So your associates tried to use me to set up a drug lab. I'm guessing you knew of this plan. I did, and I'm sorry. She doesn't appear surprised. For what it's worth, which isn't much. This is why I didn't go into the tent. The lieutenant looks at the ocean, squinting his eyes. Typical delinquency. You don't get to choose your posse, they choose you. Mine are idiots, but they're mine. I tried to talk Andre out of it. I even tried not to lie to you. Indeed, she merely tried to admit the truth instead. Instead you opted to admit the truth. It's the same kind of thing. I know, but I knew you'd see through their plan too. I'm not an idiot. I should have been able to control them. I will in the future, I promise. May I ask, what did you tell them? Do what you will with your dance club plans, just no drug labs, please. Thank you, the young woman nods. I'll get them under wraps, I promise. Let's poke about that church now, I think. Heavy wooden doors more than twice your height stand shut in front of you. The rectangular, sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock carelessly drilled into the wood. Inspect the carpentry. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. Run your hand over a beam. The surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. Take a closer look at the padlock. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting somehow. Look at the sticker. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a huge curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve suggests the curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. What makes it so modern? It's the contrast between the cheery chemical yellow and the rigor mortis. As if the cheery guy didn't know he was dead, or the dead guy didn't care that he was. Either way, you get the sense the forces of future are at work here. These forces of the future have chosen to depict something that reminds you of you. Have you seen this symbol before? Point to it. Kim takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies, "No." What does it look like to you? Looks like a dead man smiling, suggests junior delinquency. Okay, what is junior delinquency? For Verico, ZOC, the moral intern defines junior delinquents as minors between the ages of 10 and 16 who have committed an act in violation of the law. These acts aren't called crimes, as they would be for adults. Crimes committed by minors are called delinquent acts. This was part of your officer's exams. He puts the handkerchief in his coat pocket. What is suggestive of junior delinquency here? I haven't seen that sticker before, and I am not a youth. Agreed, it's very modern. But does the cheery guy not know he's dead? Or does the dead guy not care that he is? What is the source of irony here? That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set. Okay, try to peel off the sticker without ripping it. There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Okay, so we can put it in the ledger after the last entry where it belongs, or put the sticker on your ledger, right on the cover, or just shake it off and throw it into the wind. That's going right on the cover, baby. Secret task complete. Style your paperwork. Voila! Looks very modern. You're part of the future brigade now, and so is your formerly humdrum ledger. Neon, baby. Open the padlock with the key. The lock turns easily. You hear a click as the shackle pops open. Let's go. The lieutenant nods at you. Pull on the doors. As you do, you hear and the echo of the doomed commercial area. It's black halls and dusty machines. Then the feeling passes. A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church, as though rushing to fill a great vacuum. In the heart of the city. Dun dun dun! Ooh, pretty. A strange stillness fills you as you look ahead. You should walk here, not run. This grotesque wooden figure looks half finished. Feels like it's trying to become one with the church. A prayer book has been left open. What's this? Ooh. The silence in this part of the church, it's almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. Maybe if you were to stand in just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. Wait, I think I hear something. And then it's gone. Almost all of it. But for the faintest of hums. It seems that sound here is detached from its source somehow, if not blotted out outright. Truly unusual. Sounds like the Pale. How do I know what the Pale sounds like? From recordings of the Far Pale. You've heard them. We all have. You can hardly hear your own breathing. Yell! Excuse me. Yell as loud as you can. Your voice is barely audible, not a howl, but the softest of whispers. Stomp your feet and clap your hands. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total somehow. Turn to Kim. What's happening? The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head. Then he leans closer. Can you hear anything? Almost nothing. It's beginning to worry me. The church just has strange acoustics. Some engineering trick. His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. Maybe the church was designed in this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises. Hey, what if it's paranatural? Please, detective, not this again. He's trying to act dismissive, but at this particular moment, he's more open than usual to the idea of paranatural phenomenon. Look up into the bell tower. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible, then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. Okay, we can try a perception check. We should be pretty good at this. See what is beyond the shadows. Whoa. There's this weird thing up here. It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and is making its way toward you through all the other shadows. On the ceiling? Yeah. The darkness makes the ceiling feel infinitely far away. Follow the shadow's movements. It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends. Officer, is there something up there? The lieutenant follows your gaze, attempting to see whatever it is that you are seeing. Oh no, you've lost sight of it. Where did it go? Blink. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it? The shadow is a man, but a man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He is studying you intently. The Crab Man. Hey, who's there? The man leans forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, then speaks.
I bet your alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry. Everything's gonna be alright. You've come to the right place.
That accent is Villabos, a peninsula in Mesk and a district in Jamrock. There's a sizable continent of Villabos-speaking Mesks in Revicol. The right place for what?
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of the bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks. And maybe the ceiling climbing too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality. Hey, and what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even even drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Sheesh. Yeah, I guess I have a bit of a problem, and it's been getting out of hand lately, but...
Estás crudo, eh? I see deep inside you. Your body and spirit are suffering greatly from overindulgence, and you don't even know it.
Oh, I'm very in touch with my suffering.
Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc el vino is wreaking on your mind and your spirit. Necesitas parar, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
If the lieutenant agrees, then maybe, just maybe, you should pay attention? Fuck him. Fuck you, crab man. You don't tell us what to do. Tell him! For some reason, I feel like you have a point there.
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes.
His voice echoes in the cold air of the church.
This is the church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
Mother of Silence. He sways gently on the beams, waiting for you to take it all in. You have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Is he just trying to throw you off your game? 'Tis not an act, my liege. Saving, perchance, he hath deceived his very self. This man is a zealot. Some ravers want to turn this place into a nightclub. The ones in the tent outside, right? I've seen 'em. Think they're scared of me. I'd trust you won't get in the way of some enterprising youth. Their business looks promising. Wouldn't bother me none to have 'em spin music in here. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Might even be nice to have some company. He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he likes to think. Do you know where the other spooker is? Point to the strange machines around you. Other spooker? Oh. Dunno, Holmes. He laughs. Vegeta is grandma? So, Vegeta muy estudiosa. Wait, so there is another person living in the church, and it's Vegeta? No, I just call her Vegeta because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. He scratches his head. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear. And you don't know where she is? That's what I said, Holmes. How can you not know? How can you not know that when you both live here? Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We've got different interests. So you've got nothing else to tell me? How she looks, what she does? Who is she? I'm afraid not, Essie. You just have to wait until she comes back, or... He shrugs. Or search through her radio computer. Should I say you must be the crab man? Let's do it for completeness. Never known myself to be a crab, but if that's the name you've got for me, I won't stop you using it. Sorry, you, let's go with it's your neighbours who came up with that name, not me. He considers this for a moment. I always thought of myself more like a flame, flickering along the rafters and beams. He pauses. It may be that I gotta work on my technique. That's not the only technique he's working on. Look at those carved sculptures. And is that a satchel of tools over there? Ooh. Wait, did you also carve all the sculptures? Sure am. Whittling wood used to be something I just did to busy my hands. Now I use those same hands as service of something greater than my own restlessness. Rub your chin. You got some nice curves going there. It's all just for the mother, man. No need to overthink it. What were you before you became a crab man and a woodcarver? I was in a gangway, but my memories of that time are fading. Most of them are already gone. So I lost my memory too. So many people losing their memory, a certain portent of doom. Nah, Esse, it's not like that. Best thing that could happen to you, losing your memory. Do you remember your name, sir? The lieutenant is not particularly interested in this information. He's just trying to assert some control over the conversation. Tago is my name, but those syllables don't mean much to me these days. A name isn't just an identity, but also, so to speak, your place among your fellows, your place in the world. I ain't got no use for such a place anymore. My name's Harry. Extend your hand for a greeting. That's just the thing, Holmes. None of that matters. He ignores your hand, his limbs a mere shadow below the ceiling. What are you doing here? This is my special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. He nods towards the ceiling. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circle it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to drink from it directly. Who's this mother of silence you keep talking about? Oh, that's no simple question, Esse. She is one who can't be painted or sculpted. She is a cavity, in the dark, beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes. No one ever will. What will happen once you drink from this perforation? I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally at one with the state of the world before reality began. That sounds a bit like substitution behaviour, no? You know a thing or two about that. You sure you didn't just switch one drug for another? It's not like that at all, man. It's just faith and joyful service. Too gleeful, those words. He's lying, not to you, but to his very own self. Faith is a kind of drug. He shakes his head. I've heard that before, Way. And I know I can't convince you on the spot, but think. When's the last time you woke up from silent communion with a hangover, regretting what you did last night? There are drugs darker than alcohol circling your system. Let's agree to disagree. I know it'll take time, don't sweat it. I still don't understand what you're doing in this church. I'm a seraph, Holmes. I sing the mother's glory. You should sing to me, the superstar cop. Point your thumbs at yourself. I ain't no Marietti, if that's what you're thinking, and the song I sing is silent for the mother. Ah, Marietti is a mesque style of music and dance commonly seen in all manner of festivities, especially weddings. It's delightfully quaint, owing to its peasant origins. And how did you even find this place, this church? Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realised what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, Way. It didn't belong to me. Okay, I had other questions. You've been here a long time. Do you know why the church was abandoned? Police raid a while back, he responds, his voice suddenly flat. Did you witness it? Not really, or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything. It looks like he truly doesn't remember. There's a vagueness to his sense of time. Okay then. Thanks. Well, Crabman seems pretty friendly. What's this? It's a pain scarf, so to speak. Frost has drawn flowers on the glass, obscuring the view. A figure drawn in frost on the window, depicting a deer. What can we find? A cracked pane of glass, colourful. A spider has spun its web around this wood-carved pillar. There's a pair of boots there. Yeah, do we have to go the long way round? Ah, not so long. Empathy boots. And a little bit of cha-ching. Interesting. What is this? Someone's siphoning electrical current from outside into this antenna. A portable Harman Wowshy tape recorder. It's impossible it's recording something? Is it possible? 2 decks of reel-to-reel tapes spinning on empty. The blackboard is filled with complex equations. They look recent. Something to do with radio frequencies? This is a weird place. More of the forked lightning pattern you saw outside. Bark beetles? No, it looks intentional. Some long forgotten style. Let's check this out. The bowl is filled with water. A live wire runs directly into it. Could these wires work as contact microphones? A machine stands in a corner, watched over by the figures of the stained glass window. It's turned on and quivering with soft electricity. Another radio computer, says the lieutenant, stepping closer, and this time it's already turned on. He seems cautious around the machine. These machines sometimes harbour traps, he thinks, Alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful. We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case. Yes, but this machine looks like the one in the doomed commercial area. It's also quite similar to the one we have down the station. Must be the same model. He inspects the machine's framework. Careful not to touch anything. The one you saw earlier was the Rahim Civic. This is the Rahim Perfect, a model number RC7024, equipped with a Feld mainframe and a REM-compatible interim-printer. The REM Perfect is the governmental version of the commonly used REM Civic model. Although mostly based on the same technology, the REM Perfect is equipped with better noise attenuation circuits. You're right, let's leave it for a moment. I'll probably come back to it, but let's have a poke at this window. Stained glass window in white, silver and apricot faience. The young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She's impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. With glowing lungs. This is her innocence Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs. Yep, notice that. Clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Should we? Let's try it. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. Close your eyes first. The world is silent, but for the creaks and cracks of the massive wooden structure behind you. It covers you from the wind outside. The ocean feels distant, its ebb and flow blocked off by the centuries-old pinewood sarcophagus around you. In the darkness you sense her eyes on you, inspecting you with her multicoloured glass, as if you're a bug under a microscope. Open your eyes. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. It's morning. As that terrible word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Do the same as you get up. Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-coloured light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the light. How did I know this was the mother of humanism? Despite the damage you've done to yourself, the title appears lodged in your hippocampus. This is Her Innocence Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state, perhaps the most famous human being ever to have lived. No amount of Commodore Red can wipe her sad smile from your brain thing. It has survived the deluge and haunts you still, and will haunt you forever, as it haunts all men. Wait, what exactly is an innocence? I've heard of the system. The highest category of historic individual, an embodiment of the world spirit. A ruler? More. An innocent is elected to office by the founding party. A president that has taken place a mere 6 times in the entirety of history. The legal system of the Real Belt is built to accommodate inauthentic rule, should it coincide with our time. and innocence is infallible. The decisions made by one are not decisions. They are inevitabilities. What would have happened anyway, only accelerated, packed into decades instead of centuries. And innocence is a continuous, compressed event, a sacred human being. It is an honour and a glory to live when one is in office. Is one in office now? No, we are alone. Okay, when did she rule? 300 years ago, in the wake of the discovery of this isola, the Insulidian, by the explorers from the continent of Mundi. She is, among other things, the innocence of interstellary travel. Yes, the innocence of interstellary travel and the connected world. What else do I know about her? Many things. You know, she was a woman of the court, the wife of an influential marchese, and eventually the principal advisor to Irene la Navigator, Queen of Chorsny, I think. Modern day Sir Leclerc. Also, that she was gorgeous beyond beauty. Draped in ancient sadness. Are you sure you want to remember this bit of historic trivia? Standing under her long, slender form like this, dwarfed. Where is this coming from? The past. It's a silo of sadness, fermenting. You should keep away. No, you must know. Right. Nah. Okay. What else? Was she smart? Terribly. Women of the court were expected to play both contract bridge and chess sufficiently well to prove an interesting challenge to a man. A similar grasp in matters of philosophy, theology, and science was encouraged. She was, by all means, a kept woman. She made the most of her position in the antediluvian court, a court visited by the most prominent thinkers and artists of the day. In secret, she was becoming the era's pre-eminent philosopher of the state, a scalpel, a piercing gaze. She was almost preternaturally magnetic, an intelligent individual. To her contemporaries she appeared out of time, a messenger from the future to the species. We all fell in love with her, head over heels. Even before she was declared an innocence, her influence was tremendous. How come? It was on her advice that Irene la Navigator sponsored a number of voyages into the Pale, a costly, often tragic endeavour, ultimately vindicated by the discovery of the new world, the piece of reality you're standing on now. She was crowned 2 years after the first expedition returned, setting in motion what is widely considered the greatest era in history, the DeLorean era. Wow. Wow indeed. When her innocence was declared, and the queen she had advised for years fell on her knees before her, she was so overcome with emotion that her lungs started glowing in her chest. Bystanders reported golden filaments lighting the already sunlit chamber around her, clearly visible beneath her dress. That is why the lungs are the symbol of love for the cultures of the Real Belt. I want more. As did we all, the lands of Mesk and the Occident, and even far away Supramundi. Altogether 21 of the 40 monodial nations of the time immediately accepted Innocentic rule, even before her crowning. Her crowning? In a city called Advesperacit. Wow, long one that. In Vesper Messinia, her homeland, the name of the city means evening comes, but it happened on a winter's morning, with the canals frozen and slush falling out of the sky. She was dressed in a white and pearl dress on an emptied-out plaza, with the crowd far away. Already her Thieras, the secret servicemen of the Innocents, were worried about an assassination attempt. She must have been beautiful. Oh yes, she looked like humanity's young mother, a perfect mother, insultingly beautiful. It was as if her face and shoulders and hands were covered in a soft down of underfeathers. You know this well, very well. Midwinter snow was beating the cobblestones around her. A small attaché of officials stood by her as her Therias placed a white gold wreath on her head. The crowning was mostly witnessed by Secret Servicemen. Then what? One of the men in his Secret Service killed her 22 years ago, or even 22 years later. A young man who had come to suspect that Dolores Day was not entirely human, but something else. What? Something that had walked in our midst, watching us stumble for hundreds, if not thousands of years, until it decided to interfere in the course of our history. We were supposed to come up with this ourselves, the man was reported to have screamed at the Innocents. Dolores Day was shot in the chest with a fowling piece 8 times. The man, thought to be insane, said he once touched her and her body had been unnaturally warm, like a furnace, and that sometimes while on duty he observed her forgetting to breathe for over 10 minutes. The inhuman quality was witnessed by many others as well, glowing lungs and all. It is commonly attributed to the mass hysteria and religious psychology. Okay. Was there something terrifying about her? Terrifying is a term too emotionally charged for your semantic memory, or what remains of it, but terrifying. It's a simple word. She was bad for humanity, and you shouldn't have started thinking about it. No, was there something bad about her? I want to know. You already do. Although she is often considered the greatest human being to ever live, there was something ominous about Dolores Day, constantly surrounded by her Therias. She was the most socially secluded and least self-aware of all the Innocences. Some modern thinkers would consider her a war criminal for the campaigns she waged against the Mesk state. And then there were the resettlement programs. What happened? The Mesk state tried to detach itself from Innocentic rule. Parts of the world were experiencing whiplash from accelerating into secularism. Her mandatory education programs and mass resettlement of upstream Magritte were problematic as well. Dissenters were suppressed by a military force she called the Army of Humanity, suggesting those who fight against it were not part of humanity. She adored chess, yes, but also military war games. Dolores Day often holds a tiny tin soldier between her index finger and thumb, in icons such as this. She was also blonde, the blondest woman you have ever seen, with green eyes the colour of Pisantic Mare Interregnum. Little is known of her Marchese husband. It's as if he vanished from history after completing his role, which was to introduce Dolores Day to court. In conclusion, yes, there is something lonely, paranoid, and even terrifying that people seldom mention, but feel when they think of her. This subtle terror is part of her iconography. Lieutenant Gefreiter, you've stood there for over 5 minutes. The lieutenant's calm voice echoes in the cold air of the church. What are you thinking of, if I may ask? She's somehow connected to the case. She's been dead for 300 years. I'm almost 1,000% certain she isn't connected to the case. He takes his glasses off to clean them. None of this is, in fact. This church, the coast, this isn't a good place to get lost in. This is Dolores Day. The old woman in the village was right. He looks around. This must be the Dolorian Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small woodpine church in some records. You knew the place? It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. He lowers his voice. It was built not long after Revicol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers, on the coast of an uninhabited archipelago, where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds. What else do you know? There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they called them, the 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the Revolution, or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps. He looks at the machinery lying around. Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of Delorianism? A pang of guilt, the lieutenant is leaving something out. Do you know why it was abandoned? I have a theory, yes. There's a pause, then he continues. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here. Who conducted this raid? Well, your station was involved, I hear, although I can't be sure. How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information? You're not sure? 3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them. I look around. I guess I could have been here? I'm sorry, I'm not saying you were. There's a pause. It was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything about it. Why it was conducted or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters. If I was here, I should find out what I was doing. Good luck. You will not get information on confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now. Okay. Hey, Her Innocence Dolores Day, like little figurines, right? Like holding little men between her fingers, remember? What? You have the headless fallen rider figurine. You should give it to her. Win her back. What? Win who back? I can't win her back. She's a long dead historical figure. Don't be so pessimistic. Love doesn't die that easily. This isn't funny. You have a bad feeling about this. I should, yes. This is a task of mine now. So, very, very, very nifty. Nifty and mysterious. This is surely what the figurines are for. Well, on that mysterious note, thank you for watching. And I hope to see you next time. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and if you're able, support on Patreon. Farewell. Thank you to my epic patrons who make videos like these possible. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see more, don't forget to subscribe.